Okay.
Should have brought my guitar.
So, Allan, welcome to the first ever professional or looking professional Watchama podcast.
Awesome.
We had already another one during the summer, but now we are back with more lights and fancy stuff. And
It's looking good.
let's roll. So, welcome people. Say welcome to the people.
Hello everybody. Yeah. Nice to be here and watching my podcast again.
So, the idea is that if you look on the Watchama website, there is something about change making. There are many people coming here to Wageningen with the idea that they want to change in the world or change in their own life. And this summer we had several deep talks with Allan. We are almost the same age, and it's very important to discuss and have some plans or see the bigger picture. What can we do for ourselves or for the world to make some meaning of the life, of our life, or make it as a happy party almost. So for the viewers, all of you basically, I just want to introduce Allan. He is from Uruguay, but he was born in New York, and now he lives in Benacom. It's amazing, but he's Scottish and Basque. So he is he lived already in many places like Uruguay, Texas, and Costa Rica, and now he's here since 2 years, 2.5 years.
Yeah, August of 2015. Yeah, right.
Awesome. And he's a mechanical engineer, and he loves gardening and making pizza and bread. This is close to his heart, and that's what I know so far.
Cool.
In a nutshell. The rest we gonna figure out, or you're gonna figure out.
Sounds good.
So, what's cracking, Allan?
Yeah, a couple of immediate things. I guess they fit more or less into the grand scheme. Well, this week I'm doing a detox diet. I was feeling that my feet were swelling up. Not sure why it was, and I am a little bit. I don't know if afraid or I rather listen to my body myself than trying to go to a doctor, just because I don't really have a doctor that I trust yet. So even though there is a lot of knowledge and people that do good, I normally don't like first being in hospitals or doctor rooms. So I started a detox diet, and my swelling in my feet have disappeared. I think it was also related to stress as well. So
you just basically went vegan?
Yeah, I went vegan, 100%.
Or
almost raw vegan.
Or any other combination with the vegan diet? So gluten free or whatever.
Because no grains. Right now it's no grains, only vegetables, raw vegetables and seeds, and then some potatoes and stuff. So it's going awesome. The beginning of the detox week, I felt a little bit depressed too, and I had a couple of interesting realizations, which were first that I'm working too much. And kind of losing perspective of what's going on, and kind of the dreams that I'm pursuing right now, and also feeling that kind of getting a lot of emotions out throughout the day, and at the end of the day feeling a little bit lost of where I was, and emotionless as well. So
It's just in the first 2 days?
The first day, yeah.
Okay.
The first day of the detox. And then the second day, kind of like woke up in more or less the same thing. And once I ate the first breakfast with amazing food. Actually, we did like a mashed squash and apple breakfast, which is pretty awesome with some canela. I don't know how you say
Cinnamon?
cinnamon, yeah. And then I started realizing, okay, because I was also feeling that I was putting excuses to myself that why I was not pursuing my dream. So I was like, okay, yeah, I realized that not taking action towards my dream is because I'm putting the excuse that I cannot do it, because I'm too busy, because I'm working too much, because I'm the victim of a situation that I put myself in. And I realized, no, that's not the way. If I want my dream to happen, I have to work for it, and I have to do steps every day towards it, and then just be excited about the way, and then, yeah. So basically, I was drowning myself a little bit in the idea of trying to make money for the dream, but then the money making became the focus, and the dream kind of like was vanishing in the horizon.
It sounds good, and I know the background, but can you share some of the details of what you do for work, and what is the dream, and what is the contrast in between these two?
Yeah. So for work, I'm an environmental IT consultant. So I set up, I configure environmental health and safety softwares for companies that need to report to state agencies, in all those three realms: environmental, health, and safety. And yeah,
like CSR reports, like corporate social responsibility or something like that. Or it has a different name.
Yeah,
in the US?
not really corporate. Yeah, it's more like depending on the environmental regulations set by the country or by the state, then companies have to abide by them, or even the health and the safety too. So if they're like, they have to report every incident that they have and stuff like that. So we use the software so they can monitor all that stuff. But basically, even though I enjoy the company, and I enjoy the people that I work with. Actually, now both my bosses have been really good mentors to me, and kind of like evolve as a human being as well. I spend a lot of time just focused on that. That gives me and the job has given me like location freedom, because I work online, which is nice. But it prevents me. So this is kind of like the excuse portion as well. It prevents me from developing my creative side, like artistic creative side, I guess. So yeah, and also I have less time to be active because I'm sitting down a lot. Now I'm more conscious about that. So and I've been, but sometimes when I get in the victim mode, I don't. I'm not conscious. I lose the consciousness. But when I am conscious, I move around much more, and I take much more breaks, and I'm kind of like more active around the house, at least to keep the blood flowing.
And to provide the contrast, what is the dream? Because you know what is the.
Yeah, so the dream specifically right now is that me and my wife Elke, we want to cross the Atlantic, or actually from here. The Atlantic at the end of the day is maybe the easiest part, but we want to get on a boat and cross the Atlantic back to Costa Rica. My wife just finished her master's, and our next step, we want to prepare for this. So
she's from there, right?
She's from there. So we want to prepare for this trip. So we want to save up money to go for it. And we're aggressively started working towards the money part. I'm also taking classes of sailing to be prepared on the practical and theoretical side. But
maybe you forgot to mention that this dream has gotten bigger than that. Just to cross, just to get on a boat and cross.
Yeah.
So what was the last? In the last 2-3 months, there was a fight for hope.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you refer to the boat per se or. Yeah. Well, we were looking specifically at a boat, and we still are, because we had a really good connection with the people that traveled with it before, the current owners, and
it's called Hope.
And it's called Hope.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like an inspiring name. But yeah, also so now we were kind of like in negotiations to try to see if we could get the boat, but the reality was that we weren't making enough money to be able to give them a guarantee that we were going to be able to buy the boat, or at least in the time frame that they wanted. So now the boat is again for sale, but still we're still working towards it. But basically, what we want to combine this dream with is, with some of our passions and our values, which are.
For the viewers, I just realized that I haven't put on the audio recording.
It's recorded in the
yeah,
in the camera.
It's recorded. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. No, from now on it's on.
It's gonna be
It's
nice.
on. Okay.
From now on, we're gonna sound smoother.
Yeah. Sorry, people. So, but let's tell us something more about the underlying kind of philosophy about this. Having a boat or being on the boat.
Yeah.
One reason was the dog.
Yeah, exactly. Our dog flew here, and she didn't really like it in the plane. She had to be almost like 24 hours in the plane, or in her box. So it was really sad, kind of thing. But at the same time, I've been like debating this idea of like what traveling means, and like even like what does vacation mean, and all these things, because in the vacations, in some of the vacations that I've taken recently, it's always like fast pace. Okay, from here we need to go here. We only have 2 weeks, so we need to see as much as we can, as much as we can. And
you don't have time to rest.
And you don't have time to rest. Exactly. Then I need.
Okay, it's good to be active, but if you are totally exhausted when you got back from holidays, then what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then you almost feel like you need a vacation at your house to rest from the vacation that you just took. And it's happened to me, like taking like a day sleeping after I come back from a trip, because I'm so exhausted of just being all over the place. So, but last year, or at the beginning of this year, we did the Camino de Santiago, and I realized first like how you can see yourself in the trip as well. Like, you see how you evolve throughout the trip. When you're just in a fast pace, you're just kind of like frantically just trying to get from one place to the other, and maybe partying or whatever.
It's pretty much true for many people's life.
Yeah.
Also, not just for traveling, but how they live their life.
Yeah. Just trying to the quickness, the fast pace, and then when they reach a resting point, there's also a lot of fast, and that happens to me too. When I get to the weekend, sometimes I'm accelerated because of the week, and also trying to fit in a lot of things that I couldn't do throughout the week, let's say. Yeah. So yeah, this Camino de Santiago gave me the perspective that slow traveling is the way of real traveling in a way, and it's kind of like how our ancestors used to do too. So whenever we found out that sailing back could be a possibility, we started pursuing it, and slowly it started becoming more and more of a reality. It's kind of like signs started coming up. For example, like this boat kind of like appeared to us out of the blue. We weren't even looking for boats at the time. We were considering maybe going as a crew, but this boat kind of like showed up, and we had like an instant magical connection with the boat and with the owner. So it kind of like little things like that. And also, aligned with that too is all the all the matter of like sustainability and like using, living within our means. So like obviously if you live in a boat, you live really within your means because you're not really influencing or using energy from like a lot of external places. Like now we live in our house and we're getting energy from, I don't know where, like here from maybe some dams or from some windmills in the middle of the ocean. That like also all those, like even the clean energies right now, like affect the ecosystem a lot. Like for example, if you build a huge dam in the middle of the mountains, the ecosystem of the mountains is completely changed, and now you don't have like fishes and the ecosystem, the natural ecosystem that was there in balance for a while, or had been balancing itself out for a while, is disappeared basically. And the same with windmills, like you have a wind farm in the middle of the ocean and like a streamline of air now becomes a turbulent thing, like very, very uncomfortable for birds to fly. I don't know how.
And it's also how these huge windmills are designed. I don't know if they are the most efficient in that setup, because they are huge.
Yeah.
I mean, to make them, to produce them, it's like a huge amount of resources are needed.
Yeah.
And then the transportation, it's another hustle.
Yeah.
And then the maintenance, it's a totally different story, up there 100 meters high, and if they broke, then they broke.
Yeah.
And I don't know why is it not spreading, but I've seen, for example, some small scale windmills which also they can generate for a household, not the whole energy needs, what the household need, but still it has much less effect on the environment. It can be maintained by the owner of it. And the other thing which is interesting, that there were also these vertical windmills where you had actually the axis was vertical. Yeah. So all of these bearings and all of the stuff what is needed to get it rolling was maintainable from just on the from the ground.
And also because it doesn't create a torque, so you don't need such a big structure to hold it up.
Yeah. So these are not spreading, unfortunately.
Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, it's kind of like we are creative in the way, like as human beings, we are creative in like kind of like solving the problems that we have. For example, okay, let's not like we are like creating global warming, let's say, or we are like emitting more carbon emissions to or carbon equivalent emissions to the atmosphere. So the Earth is getting warmer, let's say. But basically, like instead of like or looking at it as a permaculture or like a holistic view or whatever, like saying like, okay, what's the real issue? Like instead of like looking at the real issue, it's kind of like, okay, we need this amount of energy for whatever it is, so let's find another source of it, So, but energy is not infinite. It's like it changes, it is infinite in the sense that it's everywhere and it changes,
If it's for money, there is always a demand, and it should be end of it. So it works like that.
Yeah.
Whoever has from the business perspective, whoever has the resources now in oil, they have the resources also to put in the green energy. So you don't have to think that the oil people will just, sorry, our industry is just stopped, so we're gonna just retire. I mean, they're gonna put the money in the windmills, and maybe that's why they promote these huge windmills. I mean, if you look at these windmills in the Netherlands, they are so huge that it's not for one family or not for the small scale use. However, we know that these even there are these not too big windmills. They were capturing the energy since hundreds of years, and it was back then it was a business case to build a windmill and get the money out of, or the value out of it. And nowadays it's not an idea anymore to have a smaller scale windmill.
It's strange.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it goes in hand with like how we're living as a civilization. You know, like why for me, like why are we living so outside? First of all, we use much less energy ourselves, like as human beings, like in our bodies, but we demand much more energy from the environment, which is crazy for me. You know, like to supply your own like, and I'm faulty of this too, you know, like to supply my own energy in my house, like I rely on like natural gas getting pumped from the earth. I rely on electricity from enormous windmills or dams that are like kind of like completely changing the ecosystem. Like why? Because of me. I look at like a bird, I'm cold inside my house sitting down, which is also a problem of just sitting down all day, you know. I'm like cold and I'm looking outside of the window and there's a bird that is like, you know, a hundredth my size and like a hundredth the fat that I have or whatever.
Can take care of it itself.
It can take care. It doesn't need any change of ecosystem.
But that's the thing. Like maybe I already told you other times, but. You know, I'm very fascinated of the notion of depeasantration and how it has happened, because like even 50, 60 years ago, even in Europe, the biggest part of the society was the peasants.
Yeah.
And in that sense, you can compare that lifestyle, what they were representing, to an animal, because they were able to build their houses. They were living in communities, so they could help each other.
Yeah.
They had provide their foods, so in that sense they were totally sustainable, and they were not leaving their farms for fun, but there were different economical or political forces which were actually pushing this biggest class of society to the cities to be, and now you are kind of blaming yourself, but we are blaming ourselves, but we just we have born in this situation. It's already surrounded, and to understand it and to wrap your head around it, you have to do some research. And I don't know if those people who live like you were just saying that how you don't like to travel. I mean, many people live like that, so they won't think about that. Oh, why do I need this all stuff? Because they are just always to the next
pushing
step,
for
the
next
step.
Point. Yeah.
It's like a crazy video game in that sense.
The levels.
Yeah.
Levels. Always to the next level.
Yeah.
Can't be okay with the present moment.
Yeah, and I also see. You know, I've heard also from my girlfriend a lot about animal experiments, and also I read about a lot about animal experiments, and sometimes I had this idea that if we would just like see from ourselves as humans from up, like from the God's level, and it's like also like an animal experiment, like, oh, here put some financial crisis, here some religious war, here some famine, here some whatever natural catastrophe.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, it's interesting to look at the grand scheme too, because sometimes you're like, yeah, obviously we have like powers that are manipulating, I guess it can be, but all those powers are not really for me, right? They're not really excluded from the
from ourselves, because we are also part of those
from ourselves and from them and from themselves, and like everybody's an animal, and everybody has like, you know, bacteria and cultures and stuff growing within them, and all of that has a brain as well, so everybody is part of this ecosystem as well, right? So then, you know, ant colonies can fight against ant colonies and one extinguish the other, you know, for territory, and we're in the same level of that. Obviously we just like right now are more visible, and like at our eye level we can see kind of like these catastrophes, and also we're like conscious, and by being conscious we cannot sometimes believe that like people do these shitty things or whatever.
Yeah, but
But
because like the average people, they don't, they just want to have a healthy and calm life.
yeah,
But there are some others who want power,
Yeah.
who have some perverse,
yeah,
I don't know,
yeah, and everybody at the end of the day has some.
because power, especially if you if you happen to be in a power position, maybe in a young age, it can totally fuck up your mind.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, even like, for example, family dynamics,
Yeah.
that maybe like repeat themselves throughout the years. Like, why does that happen? Like, what that maybe creates like situations that create suffering or whatever. Like, why does it, like, between loved ones? Why does that happen? And I believe it's kind of like a survival thing. Like, okay, the family, even though it struggled emotionally and it suffered or whatever, the family in that way was able to go to the next generation, and then to the next. So it learned a system that helped them procreate and keep the bloodline or whatever, like of like DNA. It's basically the intelligence of DNA wanting to survive.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
And some people or some families wanna get above nature and manipulate it.
Exactly, but it's also because they're conditioned to that for some reason. It's kind of like, I don't know, like, yeah. But yeah, we as human beings, we have like a consciousness, and I think like we have, I don't know, at least in my sense, we have a duty to coexist with our nature, with our fellow humans, with our fellow animals, with our fellow plants, with our fellow ecosystem, and try to create a place of striving where everybody strives. Obviously, there might be conflict, and
Yeah, and even if those who have, in our opinion, fucked up minds,
yeah.
they are also the creation of nature.
Exactly.
It
They're
sounds
also
bad, but they
they're
are
also
part of the
it.
game. Yeah.
Exactly, like 100%. So, and also,
And maybe we can also learn something also from them.
Well, also like out of the darkness comes the light. So
Yeah.
if the darkness doesn't exist, then
So
there's
that's why I'm actually contemplating sometimes if I see these bigger systems like food systems or society, these urban rural dynamics, that how can it be differently and how can it be on a more healthy way to don't see that much of suffering. You just wonder, why does it have to be like that?
yeah.
And so I have these concerns, and sometimes because of what you were just saying, I wonder, okay, but there are some places where there is too good or very, very good.
Yeah.
And sometimes we hear this, oh, there is a balance in the universe and it will always balance it out. So maybe this is just the way it is.
Yeah.
But maybe there is always, I don't know if the yin and yang sign,
Yeah.
is it a static thing or is just in motion?
Yeah. Well,
So maybe I think it's more in the motion.
yeah.
And
Well, it looks like it
and,
for sure.
and maybe there are forces which are in the black side and on the white side, and
Yeah. There's,
we have this duality mindset.
yeah.
But if you see the whole thing, it's one.
Exactly.
So you need both, because you cannot actually appreciate the good if you don't see or don't experience the bad.
Exactly.
So that's my kind of idea behind it. Of course, I think it can be balanced out better to don't
Yeah.
have luxury, whatever, too luxury stuff and too bad thing
Yeah.
either.
I think we need to start using our human powers more, like a human powers of of consciousness, of connection, of understanding, where the real wealth is, and
And the balance is so important.
yeah.
Actually, that is what we have to search. Maybe that's what we can target to balance our life
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah. And also, live more connected with a place that live in balance with your place, with your locality, rather than I don't know.
Yeah, but with these huge supply chains, what you get all of the resources or
Yeah.
food or whatever you need,
Or media.
you just don't see actually the details.
Exactly.
You get
So you get
disconnected. You get just a result.
Exactly. You get influenced by an energy that comes from
Yeah.
you have no idea where.
Yeah, but you didn't finish, by the way, on your diet process.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to interrupt on a way that I don't know if you are aware of the wording, but breakfast is like breaking the fast.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, I've heard of it before. Yeah.
But I don't know. Have you finished the thoughts line? The thoughts about the process? Because you stuck in the first day.
Yeah. Well,
And
the
then
first
we-
day already have.
Yeah.
So this is the third day really, and
Yeah.
now Christmas and stuff is gonna come. Obviously, I'll be more conscious of what I'm eating, but I'm thinking like I'm going to a couple of dinners, so I'm thinking I'm gonna eat stuff that is not in line with the detox.
Yeah.
And maybe also drinking some alcohol. Now in the detox, also no alcohol at all either,
Yeah.
and no sugars, no anything. Just basically pure.
It's like a dieta. Can you call it like that, or
Yeah,
is it like you just
obviously
say-
that dieta has now. Well, I don't know how it's now, but back in the day when I was a teenager or whatever, like dieta had like a connotation of like a very like specific thing based on a marketing or a propaganda. For example, low fat dieta.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so, like-
I think it still applies.
Yeah, so
nowadays,
it's kind of like, or okay, you can say like the paleo diet. Okay, that's more. I think
Yeah.
it's more holistic in a way,
Yeah.
or but yeah, the dieta diet from.
Yeah, I wanted to know how is it in the Spanish language culture,
Yeah,
because in
it's-
Hungarian we had the same
Yeah.
understanding of it meant something
something that you have to.
something bad for those who wanna have this unlimited access to unlimited amount
Exactly.
of or kind of foods. And it was like, it's not for me.
No, it's kind of like it's kind of like the dieta is like because you're not like comfortable with yourself and you're gonna do something that is like somebody told you that is good, and it's gonna be a really big challenge because you're gonna have like all these things that are tempting you all the time.
Yeah.
And
your demons.
your demons, and when people see that you're doing a dieta, they're like, "Oh, poor guy," instead of
Yeah.
being like, if you're doing a detox, it's like fucking awesome for this guy because it's
Yeah.
fucking probably revitalizing his body.
Actually,
so.
I'm also planning to have events here in the Start Hub
Yeah.
with Wachama or whoever will wanna come for one day fasting.
Okay.
From meeting in the early morning, maybe at 6 in the morning, and just be here around all day, maybe on a Sunday, and get a glimpse of what is hunger. What do we talk about? I mean, there is
Yeah.
many narratives around Wageningen and food and hunger, and we're gonna feed the world,
Yeah.
and I mean, I don't know how many of these food scientists actually have this feeling
Yeah.
experienced at all.
Yeah, get to the real thing.
Yeah, and it's pretty healthy, by the way. I mean, it's true.
for one day or what's
Yeah, for one day, or to have like once in a month, like 2-3 days. They say I don't do it, but maybe it's for those can be interesting who eat many kind of shit. I mean, I'm very conscious about my daily diet, so if I just go for a half day or a day to kind of fasting, I'm already like cleansing my body because I don't have many or much of toxic stuff. I don't drink and nothing. So
Yeah. What are the kind of like health benefits from fasting, or like how does it what does your body do when you fast?
yeah, basically what you have to consider. I don't go into the details, but we constantly have this supply now from the shops and whatever.
Yeah.
But we are not designed for that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if we go back that we are somehow animals, there was always a kind of some periods in the year, at least days, but maybe weeks, when you haven't found food around.
Yeah.
and your body is perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
You know, it can actually fix and use
Right.
stored energy and fat from your body, and it's just good.
Yeah.
And if I would give you the money tomorrow, and you could buy the hope, and but I would just make a deal with the owners to, okay, here is let's say 5,000 euros or 10,000 euros.
Yeah.
Give the boat to Allan, and he can sail back to Costa Rica, and then the boat is back to the owner. What would you do then in Costa Rica? You have lived there before. How is the life there?
No, it's nice. Well, a couple of things. First, one thing is that like when you go for your this is what I'm learning now. You know, when we go for kind of like our dreams and our passions, you know, there is such a thing of like kind of like following the signs and not making it hard on yourself, because you know you're going against the stream, or you're going against the signs. Let's say. So I think that's one thing. So, but it's also a thing to say that if everything's easy, then the result is not really cherished as well.
You cannot appreciate
exactly.
it.
So this process of trying to make the money and kind of like learning how to sail and kind of like going all through all the emotional ups and downs, like working a lot of hours, understanding that like I'm not really meant for that. My physical body is not really meant for working a lot of hours, you know, like working, yes, but like I have to have a balance of work, you know, like I have to have, some brain time, some challenging brain time, some challenging physical time, and all these things. So this journey is kind of like
learning process,
like,
and because it's a kind of a very entrepreneurial project, this getting a boat and sail it, and you know, I'm also in this startup world, and I also felt I can relate to it pretty much. And for anyone who is watching and has some nice idea, and be prepared that it can take at least a year, but most probably more years to realize those ideas. And if you don't have this perspective of I'm going in there because of the process, and there is a huge benefit that I learn about the world and about myself, then maybe just don't do it.
For me the biggest teaching is like have kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel to motivate you every day. Like if that fades away, like it's hard to get motivation. So keep that kind of like keep that on. You know, create it for yourself, create that light for yourself. But most importantly, be enjoying every step that you take. You know, every step that you're taking towards it, because the end result at the end of the day is you know, what happens afterwards.
We're gonna die.
Yeah, we're gonna die. Like what? Okay, you know, I sail across the ocean, right? Okay, it's an amazing experience, of course, and I'm gonna be loving it and suffering it and hating it throughout it as well. You know, it's gonna be a tough thing, and I'm gonna have a story afterwards, you know, and a memory. But afterwards, you know, I'm gonna go into the next thing. So I'm gonna like build up from that. So I'm gonna continue in the steps of the process, like, So right now this is the shining light, which now I'm also realizing that it has to be, even though like it's been giving us a lot of motivation for like a lot of the work that we're doing now. Now I'm realizing that it's a very short-term goal. Very, like, even though it's like it started like a year ago, and now it's like, you know, we're gonna do it for 2 years. It's a very short-term goal compared to the lifespan. So I'm now trying to understand how it actually fits in the big picture, you know, like trying to see like the big, like kind of like the umbrella goal above that, for that to be the motivator next, you know.
I mean, I've read some articles about many European families that they just sell their house in Paris or wherever and buy a boat, and it's much cheaper for them to just live on the boat, and they don't have to work, than to live in a big city. And so I don't know, I don't want to suggest you to start a family on a boat, but
why not?
Then this then it's not even that short term.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. So yeah.
it depends on if you can make it as a lifestyle or not, or
Yeah.
how it's gonna fit. Because I mean, it can be an amazing journey, or very amazing to grow up like that, as you know,
Yeah.
on a boat.
Yeah. So right now I know that like this, like for example, I love surfing. So, and it's something that I picked up as more grown up. So I know that's gonna be around in my entire life. I don't do it often as often as I want, but
Okay, we should do it once in a month.
Yeah. Sounds good. Every opportunity that I have that I'm close to the ocean, I try to do it. At least I go swimming in the ocean, because that's really what I love. That's kind of like even bigger than the surfing for me. The surfing is kind of like the physical challenge and the connection with more extreme situations of.
Did you learn to surf in Costa Rica?
No,
or
I learned.
before?
Yeah, I learned. Through California, through Mexico, and then eventually like in Uruguay. I ended up like being a regular person that stands up on a board on a wave.
Awesome.
Obviously there's millions of levels of surfing, and then in Costa Rica I really consolidated, because there's a lot of waves, but definitely I don't consider myself in the spectrum of surfers a good surfer, but a passionate one, and But so now the sailing is kind of like at that level too. I know that sailing is going to be with me forever, I already embarked on this journey. So, but also I have other things that are like going to be with me forever. For example, like, eating locally, like resourcing myself locally. All doing my own food, like doing the breads, starting my own bread cultures and stuff. Doing the kombucha, harvesting local herbs for medicinal purposes, and to stay more in balance with nature. All those things have been already in my life for several years. Now I kind of like put them aside because of this sailing, because it's became such a focus. But those things are in the grander scheme part of my life, and are going to continue being part of my life. So how does this burst of energy that like kind of like showed up in this year or whatever fit in this grand scheme? So that's what I'm trying to figure out now, because I want that to be my motivation, not just like this narrow-minded thing, So I'm kind of like in the balance of trying to understand where I stand on that.
And what about Costa Rica?
No, Costa Rica is an awesome place. The motivation, there's millions of awesome places in the world, I feel American in the sense, that I come from the Americas, so that's every time I go back to the Americas, I feel at home in a way, and even more Latin America. When I'm in Latin America, I don't know, there's something of it that I already feel like embraced by the place. So that's one thing. So it feels more like home. I have been moving all my life, so I don't know if I'm gonna settle down ever. Like I want to. I have this as an idea in my brain, but I'm not sure if that's really going to happen. I'm not going to fight it either, if I'm not meant to be. But also because our families are there too, and I want to, incorporate my family to this life. I've been separated geographically and far away from them for a while, and Elke's family is there too. My family lives in the south of the U.S., so Costa Rica is a kind of like a more or less central place. That's why I don't say Uruguay, because now Uruguay is really far away from where my family is. So that's another motivator to be there. And of course, it has the ocean, and it has a lot of natural places, and like a lot of other places in the world which are beautiful. Like. Here in the Netherlands you can find a lot too, and in Europe you can find a lot. Europe, like, I find it really like interesting, because you could actually, and I think a lot of people do, I just haven't been exposed to it that much, but like you could travel like by really simple means through a lot of Europe, like walking, bicycling, etc. So Costa Rica, and it's an idea of like maybe settling down. But yeah, who knows? Especially if we have a boat and we suddenly get that freedom that we can move around.
I have that with a camper.
Exactly. Me too. But now I'm thinking about the boat, but I have the same daydreams with a camper as well.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I just see on the highway or wherever I go, there are a lot of campers here around, and oh man, they are going somewhere.
Yeah.
They just left. They are on the way. Maybe next week they will be on the south of Spain or in Italy. Who knows?
Exactly. And they're taking their house with them. So
yeah. Or most of these people, they have their own. They have their house plus the camper, so it's even more luxury.
Yeah.
But sounds good.
Yeah.
And but. You just have the family there, or you have some connections in Costa Rica?
Yeah,
because you lived there for...
I lived 2 years. I moved there originally with my best friend Dave, who started Karma Tribe. and I have friends. I made some friends when I was in university in the States. I made some friends from Costa Rica too, and then through Elke I met a lot of people because she lived there all her life. So yeah, it already feels like a nice community. It has.
It's a bit eco, right?
Yeah, it's
eco. I know. You know this guy. Where is it? GP Sears.
Yeah.
The ultra spiritual guy.
Yeah.
He goes a lot to Costa Rica.
Okay.
I mean, I've just seen it on Instagram, but.
Yeah, it's
the weather is good, I guess.
The weather is good. There's a lot of green and natural things.
Yeah.
There is a lot of opportunity, like in that sense, to do like a lot of green projects.
Yeah.
Just because, the majority of the people concentrate in the cities, and also.
What is the population of Costa Rica?
I think like 5 million or something. Yeah, 5 million, 6 million. But yeah, a lot of people focus on the city and trying to get regular jobs instead of being connected with their natural ecosystems. At least the locals, it happens.
They are. I mean, the big part of the society is sold. It's still today. It's 2017, and the end of 2017, we have the internet, a lot of online possibilities, digital nomads, all of this, and still the cities have this kind of attractive power to suck in the people.
Yeah.
And I mean, more parties, but you can also party. I mean.
Yeah.
And what is this Karma Tribe about?
Yeah, Karma Tribe is a project that was born out of philosophy talks with friends, and they've basically made it a reality. And it's basically right now the form that it's taken. It's an online platform where people offer to help out and anything that they enjoy doing, and people request things that they need. And the idea is to try to find matches between
enjoyable things, like supply and demand
without money, basically. And basically, people doing things out of their heart because they love doing them and because they want to spend their time doing them just because of doing them, and at the same time helping out. So it just went through its first crowdfunding campaign. It went well. They are actually,
because we are in the startup world here, so let's think about the business model. Or what they are actually a platform or a facilitator of this matchmaking. Let's say. Yeah,
exactly. So, and the business model is still in evolution, in the sense that they've started kind of taking the first steps to try to start making these connections, and he thought that the internet was a good platform for this, and slowly it's taking shape as a business or as a project, that hopefully can be sustainable in itself. Now Dave and some other people are putting a lot of their energy to keep it running, and also a lot of their monetary resources as well. But But yeah, the idea is that hopefully the ecosystem can like kind of like sustain itself, you know, and sustain the people that are part of it as well. So yeah, it's interesting to see in the website how like people offer to do things that they enjoy doing. There's like, and the things that they offer are pretty cool, you know, because people want to do cool things. They don't want to do boring things.
Cool. Yeah.
So it's fun to just browse around and to look. For me the main obstacle that Karma Tribe has right now is that people don't have time. You know, people have the dream of being able to help out and want to collaborate and stuff. I think everybody has that innate, but everybody's in a rush to survive in a way, you know, to make sure they can survive or they can have enough means to survive, and like which is a weird concept, you know, which is a weird. I find it weird that like we have to kind of like, for example, if you want to do a project, you have to like sell something, or you have to like, you know, create a product that somebody else wants, you know.
I know. Actually, a month ago exactly, we had this conference about social entrepreneurship, and in the table discussions I listened to, because we recorded all of the table discussions. There were 9 different topics, and you know, the thing is that people who have these environmental or social concerns of doing something good, they are like so shut down when they hear about money and business. And I also wrote it in the article, I just finished that this corporate greed created as this psychological feeling that if we talk about money or business, it is something bad. And people, even we are kind of smart people a bit, I guess, or little bit educated, or trying to do something in this field. And even for us, it's very hard to conceptualize that, okay, business doesn't have to be for extra. So, you know, but business can be sustainable, but I think there is enough buffer between this super extra profit ventures and a business which can actually, you know, make the
create an impact and also
create an impact and make the community running and connect people. So actually, at one of the table discussions, I came up with the idea of the CSAs, like the, you know, like
community supported agriculture.
Yes, indeed, that it is actually like a short chain, because then you get the benefit anyways. And if the business owner you know, is not genuine enough, then
you see it.
You see it right away. Exactly. So someone else from the community can also get the, you know, and there's a more healthy competition than you know, compete or whatever, do something with these shadowy, untangible forces who are like billionaires and Silicon Valley and bankers, and you just have this hopelessness of Jesus, if it's what can I do, you know, to actually make something meaning of my life, also contribute to the world, and do something what I believe in.
Exactly.
But all of this package, what I was just saying, is most of the time is put away because people have to do this rat race.
I think you put it well, like before when we were talking before, like if you like, really the money is just a vehicle. The problematic thing is kind of like misused power. That's what you were saying, like, you know, money is just a form of like transactional energy, and you know, and money just gets printed here and there, and you know, and
it's a tool.
It's a tool, and
it can be used for, you know, like
it's a measure. It's just kind of like a ruler of measuring value in a way, you know, kind of like agreed value between the people that uses money. But yeah, at the end of the day, the bad thing is the power. And not really even the power, it's like the misused power.
And maybe it's psychologically, I don't know if it's just the choreography of this whole thing is that the money has or in business they have the negative connotation,
Yeah.
then it already discourages the people who want to do something good.
I want to do good, exactly.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
like,
strange.
maybe that's why people with money do bad, to have this negative connotation, to actually scare away all of the other smart people who want to do something good, just because
like propaganda on the money itself.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. That's,
I don't know.
that's a weird twist. Yeah, well, that's why an initiative like Karma Tribe, it's kind of like, okay, let's refocus and like let's take the money out of the equation so we don't have that stigma anymore.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have the stigma both ways. We have the stigma it's bad, but also we can't do without it.
Yeah, so that's why I'm putting forward the concept of social entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
and the CSA as a kind of core model.
Yeah.
What maybe the Karma Tribe could also use.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's just an idea,
Yeah.
because like. Yeah, and then don't rely on charities. Make something sustainable.
Yeah, exactly.
And money is just there will be the different cryptocurrencies, different ways of this exchange.
Yeah.
They are coming up very soon, but till then we have to survive with something.
Yeah, exactly.
So and
we have to be
if I think
in the balance, in the transition.
yeah, if you are genuine enough and you just say that this is the situation,
Yeah.
then and that's it. Like even the fundraising is for money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah. You just have to take the stigma out and then go use it.
bless the money. Oh. Get some high priest like, hey, give us some bless.
I need some for the boat.
Yeah.
boat. But yeah, at the same time, like if the money just shows up, then there's no story at the end of the day. That's
yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, but I mean, if we from the beginning like kind of put it on a corner that money is bad.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I'm totally from the same situation. So for me, it was a years long process to get here, where I am now.
Yeah.
I came to Wageningen to study about this rural sociology and this whole other perspective, because I had already background in agricultural engineering, but I wanted to do something good because I've seen these many things with the food and with the environment going bad.
Yeah.
So okay, the idea was that I will be here a researcher or doing a PhD, but I also had in mind that I wanna give talks, not just write papers. I wanted to give TED talks because back in time in 2012-13 I was watching a lot of TED talks, and I realized, geez, man, there are much more solutions to the problems than the problems itself.
Exactly.
Technically,
Yeah.
if we see the technical problems and the technical solutions, and I've seen that there are real social problems. We are like social animals, but we don't really interact anymore on a normal way. And so the idea was to become a researcher and give talks and inspire people.
Okay.
But meanwhile, I went into this self-help, podcasts and stuff.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurship came across. And I was like, geez, man, if I really want to make an impact, because when I was on the side of the academia, like in my mindset, I've seen that, basically all of the bad thing in the world, it happens because of the money and the businesses.
Yeah.
And I was totally disgusted about this whole thing. I just wanted to earn a fair money to supply myself.
Yeah.
And I think many good-hearted scientists here in Wageningen and everywhere in the world, they choose that direction in self-realization because they also don't want to
take too much. Yeah, of the pie.
take too much. What I wanted to say, that they don't want to be like a very vulnerable situation just to do some physical job, but they also don't want to go for business career, and they have the talent, of course, because they got the higher level of PhD and professor, whatever.
Yeah.
So they choose the academia to have an impact, but still academia has much less impact than the businesses.
Yeah.
If we see like what happens, like many businesses are bigger than countries. So then
yeah.
I was getting into the entrepreneurship to actually understand this mindset, what is behind the businesses, because still money and businesses, what rolls the world around actually. And then slowly but surely I found the concept of social entrepreneurship, or I came up with different ideas by myself. How can it be differently? And it's a process.
Yeah, for sure.
It doesn't come like this, but it's
worth gonna still keep on evolving for sure.
It's worth the time to put in it to kind of manage and nurture your relationship with money itself.
Yeah.
And if it's done, that is the most part of the work.
Yeah, exactly.
Because most of these people who have this in the beginning, they kind of know what is value or what value they want to put out in the world, and from the moment they realize that the money is just a tool, and the value what they want, they need the money to put it out.
Yeah.
Then it's much easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully.
Yeah. No, there was I did an interesting course in Amsterdam, in the De Keuvil, in the
De Keuvil, yeah. Oh, when was this?
I don't know, like a couple of months ago.
Okay.
Or more.
Yeah, it was just a weekend or longer.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah, 1 day. Okay.
Well, it had 2 parts, but I only did one. You could do one. The part that I did was a course called Meaningful Work and Money. So basically, it was trying to create a relationship with those 2 aspects that are a lot of time conflicting. You get money but doing without not meaningful work, and then you do meaningful work but not for money, kind of thing. So I was going to ask you, what do you think, like your growing up experience, why did it bring you to have eventually like a self-realization that you wanted to do social entrepreneurship, or what kind of like were your experiences growing up that you think shaped you like that, because obviously it was like a lot of like little transitions from what you said, like when you started studying in university, from agricultural engineering and stuff, but before that, how was the evolution before that?
And before that, geez man, you go back in time. When I was 4 or 5, in the farms, in the agriculture, the huge industry of farms. My father was a middle manager or something like that.
Yeah.
And these guys who were like the workers, the workers, who work there, they were asking me, what do I want to do? What is my dream to be when I'm gonna be a grown up? They were expecting me to say I want to be a forklift driver or a tractor driver or something like that, because these huge machines and but they didn't impress me at all.
Okay.
I wanted to be a scientist. More specifically, I wanted to create a cream or powder which actually can bring back people to life.
Wow.
When they die. So that was,
Yeah, interesting.
And the entrepreneurship, I don't know if I'm gonna be a social entrepreneur. I like this concept, and there is a lot of ideas what you can take out to don't have this greedy mentality or greedy approach to business.
To do business with thinking about the social.
I think the community is the most important. If there is a community around what you do, and it has a nice balance, what you give to the community, that that is everything. You don't have to call it social entrepreneurship or whatever. I just use this as a tool.
Yeah.
I had this childhood dream that I wanna be some superhero, wanna do something cool, and then it was faded away, and I was
because you were bombarded with things.
Yeah, and I was already like I finished all of the school what I wanted to do, what I started. I finished them. I was already in the Netherlands, and I was 29, almost 30, and still didn't know what to do. You know, because I've seen that other guys, other of my friends, they just get their focus and get their job and all of this stuff. But I didn't want to trade my freedom for having a job what is not fulfilling me, and I also didn't want to work for a company which provides a product what I don't 100% believe in.
Yeah.
So I was 29, 30, I was working in hospitality, like kind of, it was also my freedom, my flexibility. Sometimes in seasons I was working like crazy hours, but then in the summer I had like 2 months off. When I was 29, I had these 3-4 very, I guess I sat down and there were some goals or plans what I was planning for already many years, at least 2-3 years, but I think even more. But I was just rolling later. But when the 3.3 like the 30 was coming, I was like, till when I'm going to roll these like push away, like next year and there were many other coincidences just came together, like my boss died and the winter company where I was working, it was also bankrupt. And I just happened to be free for the winter, so that was one of on my bucket list to be in the winter in a tropical island or in an island where it's the good weather, and I also wanted to be more in a Spanish speaking culture, because that's already back then, like since I was 20 something, even if I haven't talked or met with Spanish speaking people, I had this.
You were attracted to it.
Yeah. So I went to Gran Canaria, Las Palmas and spent there a winter and took Spanish courses, and I just took for 2 months every day or 5 times a week surf lessons. I didn't get to the point that I'm proud of, but at least I tried. Actually last month when we went back after 5 years, I still have my skills.
Okay,
so
that's good.
We really have to plan the monthly with you the monthly
Weekend Zee.
Yeah. So when I had this kind of freedom in Gran Canaria, then I went into the diet. I was trying different diets from paleo to everything.
Okay.
And I looked around my environment. I looked already the YouTube and many other sources. Why is food so important? So important. And then the pieces just got together, and I realized that there is a huge challenge to do something about that, and that I felt that this is something that fits to me. I mean, it's, if you see the food system nowadays, or this, how it influences society, it's almost too big of a challenge to do something to kind of steer it to the right or better direction, but at least it keeps us busy.
But it's a realm to work.
It's like a boat, or it's my boat, or but it's like a Titanic, but
it's like a big oil tanker or something.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's good. Sometimes also the spaces, when you create space in your life, you get the revelations too.
Yeah.
Which is nice too.
Yeah, and also in this process, I realized that, for example, this podcast is also nice. This was the second thing when I was in high school. in high school when I was 16, 17, I really liked the radio show.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a radio commentator
Wow,
for
me too.
one. So it's getting together. I might gonna become a scientist.
And also, I was thinking when you were saying the cream that like made people like come back to life.
I have an alternative for that, but it's later.
Yeah, well, it's like I think like with all the food and Wim Hof method, you are prolonging your life. So it's not really a cream, let's say, but it's a methodology.
Yeah, but that's one thing. But if you go more to the spiritual realm, it's like you know that it's the death is not how I conceptualized it when I was 4 or 5.
Yeah, exactly.
So cool. I'm out of words, but I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, people.
Learning experience.
People, we're gonna see Allan other times too. So, thank you, Allan.
Thank you for having me. I also love podcasts and also dreamed about being an MC in a radio station too. So
it's
this
happening.
is kind of like fulfilling my dream as well.
It's happening, man. So we're gonna do regular podcasts. You're gonna be a regular guest.
Awesome.
And we need to know your process, the people.
Yeah.
You need to know your process, but with the hope. If there is hope, or
there is
no
hope. Important thing is just to take a step every day. Take a step, and enjoy the process. Basically, the slow traveling with the boat, but translated to life, like you were saying. Like, get out. Even if people are in the rat race, just like make a conscious effort to slow down and enjoy even the process of the rat race, and then you start seeing different perspectives.
Okay. Awesome. So, thank you very much.
Thanks, Sean, for having me again.
Ciao, ciao, people.
Take care. Ciao.